I am just hanging out. Woke up to fog and about 65 degrees. It's supposed to get up to 76, but I don't think it will. But it's a gloomy day. I probably should do some yard work. We just went out and had lunch and stuff. I want to talk about the upload this morning. So, Sparrow yesterday came out with a hell of a big dump of a scoop. And first off, I'm going to talk. Cal Kestis apparently is going to appear in Ahsoka season 2, the second half, episodes 5 through 8, on a quest with his girlfriend Marin, who's a Night Sister who doesn't agree with what the Great Mothers are doing. And they're looking for some artifact. Just wait, it'll probably be the dagger of Mortis. I mean, God only knows. Then, as you all remember, newbies may not know this, but Patty Jenkins was quoted, I think she's doing a podcast or an interview, where she basically said her Rogue Squadron script was back on. Now, the writer of the original script, the one that was really good that they really wanted to do, basically told a friend of ours that he hadn't heard anything. All right, he hadn't heard anything. So they might not be using that script or a flavor thereof, but Wedge Antilles is going to play the Maverick to whoever's Hangman, or in Rooster, or the Viper to Maverick, Goose, and Ice, and everybody else. It just, whatever. Hey, Cal. Yeah, I like that too. I think that's a good way of introducing them into live Star Wars. The Wedge Antilles Rogue Squadron movie is going to be great. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know at what point in time they're going to make it. Dennis Lawson's obviously, he's up there now. So, I don't know. You will just have to see if that even comes to something. But they are focusing more on film, I think. Then Ahsoka season 2. Once Mando and Grogu's done filming, they'll go into filming Ahsoka season 2. Well, one of the things that really made me happy is that we will no longer be assaulted with the obnoxiousness of Sabine and Hera. Okay, they're going to be relegated to movies and fairly minor compared to some of the other characters. John wants to, as we proceed into the movies, heir to the Empire. It's going to be sort of an Avengers type thing where everybody gets together to defeat Thrawn. So you're going to have factions, the New Republic and others coming together to go after the Grand Admiral. And so I don't know, when you look at it, how it's going to affect the sequel era, because you're what? Now, Mando season 3 is what? 10 years after Return of the Jedi? You see nothing of really any sequel stuff that can't be ended. Okay, and with Ahsoka, I'm going to remind the people that listen to the Black Pill Blobs, you've got, go back all the way to a couple of years ago, go look at Doomcock's videos. Okay, he talked about a rumor he had heard where John wants to use the World Between Worlds to change the timeline. there has to be a reason and there has to be a way for that to happen. There has to be not a what, but who. And the who from Ahsoka season 1 is none other than Anakin Skywalker himself. He pulled Ahsoka into the world between worlds and gave her one final lesson, right? They walked into a window. They're suddenly in the middle of the Clone Wars. Okay. They go back onto the path that she was on, and he is Vader and starts to fight her, and she gets the upper hand, and he goes, "You get a choice. You want to live or die?" And she says, "I want to live." And all of a sudden he looks down, and he looks up, his eyes are blue again, and he says, "I think you're going to be all right, Snips. I think you're going to do fine." I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he says. Anyway, so he's in the world between worlds. Now, when you look at the stupidity of the sequel trilogy, Palpatine flies into one of the places where he's able to step in to the world between worlds and go to Exegol so he can, try to save his poor broken little body by becoming a clone, a bad clone at that. Okay. If he steps into a room and Anakin Skywalker standing there going, "Remember me?" That kind of ends all this shit, all the manipulation, all the crap. The problem I have with people poo-pooing, the idea that the sequel trilogy's, it's got to be changed. That's the biggest problem they have. Kennedy has to go, and the sequel trilogy, while me being a fair-minded person and having really thought about it, I want it to be erased from the official timeline. But because there are morons out there who like it, just take the numbers off and put the numbers elsewhere. And the sequel trilogy can just, fester away till it becomes irrelevant. Okay. That's what they have to do. Okay. And with Anakin in the world between worlds, you've got Baylan Skoll standing on that monolith of the Father, and to the Father's left is the Son. To the Father's right, and there's a separation, is a monolith of the daughter that's cut in half. So, going back to the Mortis arc in Clone Wars, that reflects the end. Okay. That reflects the end. Now, they're all supposedly dead. But if you go to the World Between Worlds and Rebels, and you see the daughter's eyes don't light up, the father's eyes don't light up, when oh yeah, Jacob, I agree with you. The son's eyes light up. The others did not. So now you think, what's the catch here? The son accidentally stabbed his sister to death with the dagger of Mortis. The father committed seppuku with the dagger of Mortis, which is a Japanese ceremonial sacrifice, suicide. The son got shived by Anakin's lightsaber. So the dagger of Mortis really does matter a great deal with the Mortis gods. We'll call them that, the father, son, and daughter. And which is why I think the artifact that they're looking for, Marin and Cal, is going to be the dagger of Mortis. Okay. So if it is, then Aboleth may be part of this, or maybe not. Maybe the son let her loose, and maybe by taking him out, there's the flying pancake with the outrigger cockpit and the thing on top. That's what I want to see. um, we have an opportunity here, and I think if they do it right, Mando and Grogu will be pretty good. And then he'll go into filming Ahsoka season 2, and they'll probably start gearing up for Heir to the Empire. Heir to the Empire, episode 7, maybe, because they're talking about they've been talking about is a Thrawn trilogy, which I think makes perfect sense. Just do Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and then The Last Command. And call them that. Call them that. All right? And you have a big enough scope where you can bring in Harrison Dula for a little bit and Sabine, where you can, Ahsoka should be a little more prominent, okay? Considering she is a Jedi, whether she wants to be or not now, because of her time spent in the world between worlds with Anakin. And now she's wearing white garb, Ahsoka the White. Her being a representative of the daughter. Anakin in the world between worlds, bringing balance to the Force by removing the chaos. Okay. I would like to see Anakin have a confab with Luke, maybe a confab with Leia. I think a meeting of the minds with Leia would be really neat. Saying that, the apology thing that he did, how many people here have read The Truce of Bakura? That scene is poignant, but Leia, her response to him is understandable. However, I think if we see her have a conversation with him in his Force Ghost, I hope the mower isn't too loud, guys. His Force Ghost image, I would hope it would be a little civil, etc. We'll just see how that goes. But having Peter has an idea, turn it into something like the Dark Vision and the sequels into a Dark Vision of Dagobah. Okay, and here's my thing. I would like to see Han and Leia have more than one kid. I think that would, and then you could bring in Jason and Jaina, especially if Jason Dula sort of fades into the background. Anakin Solo. Then you could give Luke a Jedi, young Jedi, I can hear a line to Leia. Well, no, Leia, I've just been herding wild Solo children, Womp Rat, Solo Womp Rats around, because, they're Han's kids. And, more than what Ben Solo could have been, I think that you could bring out independent personalities that are different than even Luke's as far as recklessness and Anakin's. All right. They all share something in common with their dad, which is innovation, instinct, mouthiness, to make that. Yeah, I do too, Peter. I really, really do. I have a vision of Han going up to one of the boys. I would actually like to see them have more than 3 kids or 4 kids. How about 7? They have another set of twins and then a little girl. At the end of the final and The Last Command, Falcon sitting there, see this kid walk out, and he's not a Jedi. All right. And Han says, I'm old, I'm done, I'm out, I'm retiring. Your mom wants me to quit. Okay, I'm giving the Falcon to you. Chewie's gonna watch out for you. Okay, and I could see that. Giving the kid his blaster, and then all the kids fly off together with Luke. Okay, and you could have Mara Jade. Um, Again, I'm not too keen with Luke having an emotional attachment to anybody. You know, if you want Luke to have kids, uh, it's got to be in a different way than Mara Jade was. I actually look at Mara Jade as being a foundling, you know, and when Luke and Leia discover she's got significant midichlorians, she goes with Luke to the school the practicum and starts doing her Jedi training, and she becomes one of his first apprentices with Grogu, and hopefully not Ben Solo. You know, I really wish they need to not go that far. They need to stay away from anything to do with the sequel trilogy. I mean, for all we know, maybe the Ben that was mentioned is Ben Skywalker. Or I don't know. I mean, I would have objected to having that character anywhere near uh, the revitalization of Star Wars, because the character is not a good character. He's I'm gonna say it. Don't care if you disagree. Adam Driver's a shitty actor. Shoot me, okay. But it's true though. Oh, not Brian Skywalker. That's stupid. I mean, come on, man. Uh, no, I think I think that they should just go and use the popular characters from the EU and forget what didn't sell. I know that a lot of people liked Ben Solo and TFA, and really, I mean, but this is me. If he is the strongest character you have problems. Okay, you got big problems. So we're to the point where John Favreau has been walking around the offices saying, this is the post-Kennedy era. Okay, so let's go back. This week we got Star Wars Magazine, run by somebody, put up a thing that says Kathleen Kennedy, they're not renewing her contract, she's out. Then I put up another thing with a woman named, let me go to X, because I never remember her name because I don't like her. Okay, damn it. Agnes Chu. Agnes Chu was one of the people that worked with would be Agnes Chu would be someone that worked really close with Bob Iger. She also is a connection to the Chinese government. And the moment I read that, I was like, no, don't even think about it. Got enough of the Chinese. Okay, had enough of them. All right, I'm done. All right. They can, they threaten Taiwan, they threaten us, and yet, and it's like, look, do you guys understand that if you do anything to us or cause a fight, that your economy tanks because we're not going to be buying shit from you? And if they don't respect that, then, if they really, it's time to cut the cord with them, I think, and start becoming a little bit of what they say independent. I mean, you ask yourself, why has manufacturing left the United States? Well, look at the longshoremen. Look what they're threatening. Look at how much union workers. I mean, and there was a time when there was a good reason for unions. But it's gotten to the point where they price them out of their own themselves out of their own jobs. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. Agreed that everybody needs to make a living wage, but when the company can't make a profit, they can't operate at a loss. There's your problem right there. Okay, so, but there's no reason for us to be so dependent on China, and yet you look at China and think you're pretty dependent on us too. You go to any store, be it Target, Forever 21, Old Navy, Macy's, any low end, like affordable to higher end department store. A lot of stuff is made in China. And you look at it and you know there are other countries that you could actually get the same stuff from. India, Pakistan, la. And really, they're not threatening Taiwan. Okay, problem solved. Okay, so I don't like the idea of her. And I don't know why the name was thrown out there. And of course, they talked about Rogue One being the only light in the Kennedy era, the only diamond. I agree with that. And then they, talked about the Acolyte and what a fucked up affair that was. And then they got themselves in the middle of the Molly Damon Star Wars theory fight. And when you read it, the article, they're blaming Lucasfilm for having favorites. Lucasfilm did this. They gave people that should not have had access unless they had a psych eval access. They gave crazy people like Molly Damon is batshit crazy. I mean, she's a loon. You don't give her access because then she suddenly thinks she's Oprah Winfrey or some shit like that. Okay, all powerful Molly. You don't get if you're not going to give access to anybody, that's fine too, and you shouldn't. See why they did this stuff. Lucasfilm did this. It's easy PR, and it's very easy to keep these guys happy as long as they get free shit. Okay, Molly is very happy with the lesbo shit going on because it's kind of like she's got the weirdest relationship with a guy I've ever seen in my life. But when The Acolyte was canceled, all right, first off, review bombed. There was no review bombing. The people who saw it were mad. They didn't like the show, and most of it was because the story sucked, and it was stupid, and it didn't follow lore, and it was canon breaking. And it was just, poorly written, half-done shit. Okay, don't care if you disagree. Okay, I think the problem people had, more so, was was the woke shit. And you've got, there's an article now in Variety saying that, basically attacking toxic fandom and blaming the fans for things. It's like, look, we wouldn't be so pissed off if you just respect us and put stuff we want up on the screen. It's not that difficult to know, all right? No, we don't want to see lesbo shit. We don't want to see gay shit. We don't want to see rainbow-riddled franchises because validation, okay? No one gives a shit about that validation, okay? We're just here because we love Marvel. I don't, but we're here because we love Star Wars. And when you throw Vice Admiral gender studies into the thing, it's like, what the fuck is this? And then you literally have to rework the canon to make her make sense. It's like, no. Okay. When you've got a character making a Maoist, basically manifesto against rich people, it's like, or like a Marxist one or whatever, it's like, and the actress is a cute girl, is dressed in a potato sack with the weirdest fucking haircut I've ever seen in my life. It's like, we're all supposed to go, okay, oh, it was fine? No. Here's the deal. They used Kelly Marie Tran. They were the ones that planted the racist stuff on Wikipedia. Ichibaka found out. He looked at the IP address of the people who posted that and was like, yeah, it's Jason Ward. He did it. Okay. Now, that comes from, I would say, it's not direct evidence, but it's interesting. Okay, it was somebody in California in that area. Then you've got them hiding behind Vice Admiral Gender Studies, and what was she supposed to be, like a fucking pansexual or some shit? What the fuck is even that? I'm like, what? Am I supposed to hide my frying pans from her now? It doesn't mean that she's gonna have feelings for my dog, my horse, my wine glasses, my kitchen island? I mean, no. In what fucking world is that right for Star Wars? Something like that, And it's like, I can't, no. But we're toxic fandom. And then they went into looking at, oh yeah, I mean, I agree, Cross, definitely. I mean, trying to say she had autism, Vice Admiral Gender Studies. It's like, this is right up there with that idiot Leslie Headland, basically saying that George Lucas lore is the Catholic Church and Rian Johnson is Martin Luther. I'm like, where the fuck did that even come from? Okay, low IQ, low rent, dumbass remark. Low IQ, poorly written, irrelevant character who has no fucking business being in Star Wars. But she's there because Rian Johnson wanted to make a fucking statement. Rian Johnson is the kid that got bullied by everybody in school who would turn around and bully other people. Like if he saw that you had the Millennium Falcon, he'd walk over and break it, and kick it over and then run away. All right. He was one that pissed in everybody's cornflakes. That's what The Last Jedi is. In fact, the entire sequel trilogy is all of these awful people coming together to shit on George Lucas. Okay. Can say what they want. He wasn't consulted. So they went off and did what they wanted. Because they were afraid of the prequel trilogy. Guess what, motherfuckers? The prequel trilogy made money. It made money. Okay? The only movie to make money in the ST was TFA. All right, and it was a shitty movie. I can't, So right now we're at a crossroads at Lucasfilm because we have no official announcement. And I'm going to say something. I could get a text message from Cameron or a phone call or from somebody else saying They announced all across Lucasfilm that Kathy's done. She's out. And they're announcing it like publicly Monday. And I would not be allowed to say anything until everybody gets their shit together. And there you go. That's how it's going to be. Okay, if they even announce it. Which, at this late date, I don't want to be looking at the Lucasfilm leadership board and suddenly see her face gone. Okay, because that'd be like... And to the people who insist that Jon Favreau has his own production company and couldn't take over Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy has her own production company. She's still part of Kennedy Marshall. So that rationalization only works if you're I don't know, angry black pill blob who knows that their money train's gonna leave once Star Wars starts doing good. You know, look, in this day and age, with the shit going down in North Carolina, anybody who's here, by the way, do you guys remember Craig Johnson? He has been out of power for 7 days. I still think he's in Georgia. Okay, this is how bad Hurricane Helene was. Okay, we've got sheriffs threatening helicopter pilots who are out there trying to rescue people with the arrest, which is like, what? Okay, and I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it anymore. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. We need something good to happen. Okay, we need Star Wars, just like we needed it back in the mid 70s. All right, just like we needed it when it first arrived, just like we needed Rocky. Okay, and the reason why is because we need an escape. This is the reason why these movies mean so much. Is they are a way to walk away from the bad for 2 hours and forget the shit and just be. Okay. All right. That's why. Okay. And, there you go on that. So if or when we're told the staff has now been informed Kathy has left the building. I mean, maybe they already have told people and we're just not being allowed to say anything or haven't been told because, that news is kind of a BFD, okay? And you want to tell everybody. And, I can see them wanting to spare Kennedy humiliation, but why? Why? After all the bullshit she's caused, and you want to spare her? Really? You do? Oh, Dilligaff, do I look like I give a fuck about how she feels about something? That's how a boss should be. You don't sit there and go, oh, well, we should just spare her. No. Don't give a shit if she's Kathleen Kennedy. Fuck this shit. Okay? Fuck it. Look at what she's done to Willow, to Indiana Jones, and to Star Wars. And I'll tell you something. As much to blame Bob Iger is, all Kathy had to do is say, we're not doing it that way, Bob. We can't. Okay, we have to respect George's vision. Okay, we can't do this. And if Iger got mad or said, well, Alan Horn, because Alan Horn was had Alan Bergman's job back in the day. And I think he was the one that said, well, we can't follow the lore. Remember how bad the prequels were? That's where all this shit came from. Okay? That's where all this fucking shit came from. All right. So we know now we're in the post-Kennedy era. I think Ahsoka, at the end of Ahsoka, proves it pretty well, where we are. Okay. And we've just got to take it day by day. All right, we just got to take it day by day. And, look for signs in the rags about changes coming to Lucasfilm or more analysis of why Star Wars failed under Kennedy. Okay. Look at Leslie Headland being ridiculed because I think that I am pretty sure that Iger wants to chase her out of Hollywood. All right. And, wonder to yourself, who the hell is Star Wars Magazine? Because look, if you read that Variety, let me find it here. Variety Toxic Fans. Okay. All right, I'm still looking here. Just toxic. Okay, because all right, toxic fandom. How Hollywood is battling fans who are just out for blood, from social media boot camps to super fan focus groups. First off, I'm on a Disney focus group. They invited me and I'm like, sure, okay. And basically I ripped the Acolyte apart. Of course, they want to, they interviewed Amanda Stenberg, who, her problem is she caused it all herself. She is the one that caused it all herself. She is the one that when the fans started complaining, instead of saying, I could do a better job. All right, I'm not a great actress. She turned around, made a stupid dance video, where she looked like one of those balloon things, guys that either are at used car lots or, discount mattress stores doing this. Those things that go like that. And it's like, it was racist as hell. Reverse racism is racism. Okay, just for FYI. And then she did an 8-minute video yelling and screaming after the Acolyte was not given a second season. It's like, it sucked, okay? You had something to do with that. By the way, you little shit, you spoiled brat, you're not a good actress. And I don't give a shit if you think I'm being racist when I say that. I'm not. If you're a white, blonde girl, be gone, thought. That's great. Oh my God. Dancing Without a Pole, and people responded, be gone, thought. That's great. It's like you could be a blonde, white-haired blonde, blue-eyed, Swedish bikini team member, and if you were a shitty actress, I would call you out. All right? I don't like Rachel Ziegler for the same reason. All right? You can't, She sits there. First thing that comes out of her mouth is the original Snow White, the beautiful fairy tale, is misogynist. Second of all, then she turns out around and starts screaming at white people. It's like, you're a Latina who has appropriated a German fairy tale. And you're trying to reimagine what skin as white as snow means for your Snow Brown episode. As someone who is pretty good at German, when they say the skin is as white as snow, it's literally what it means. It is not, it's a very literal language, okay? And Germans are very concise, literal people. Okay, so her skin as white as snow, is her skin is as white as snow. It is, this paper towel is as white as snow, all right? The green of my t-shirt is green as it can get. That's what it means. Okay, so trying to reimagine what it means takes away the meaning of it. And it also adds, again, an anti-white racist element to it. And reverse racism, I'm sorry, Rachel, sweetheart, is a thing. Okay? And I don't appreciate it. This, there has to be some sort of story set in South America or Mexico that she could be a part of. I mean, Beyonce appropriating blonde hair so she could do her country album. And then yelling when some girl is either wearing hoop earrings or has cornrows, some white girl. You see the problem here. Okay, you see the problem. John Leguizamo getting pissed off because I myself told him his Toulouse-Lautrec in Moulin Rouge sucked compared to Jose Ferrer's Moulin Rouge, and him screaming racism, and then me reminding him Jose Ferrer was Mexican. Okay. Doesn't have anything to do with you being Mexican, you dumbass. Has everything to do with you being a racist, anti-white, anti-American dumpster fire, okay, of a human being. And why anybody in Hollywood would work with that guy, I will never know. People like that are legitimately not good for a team. It's like hiring Colin Kaepernick to be your backup quarterback on a Super Bowl football team, when all of a sudden everything in the locker room centers around his bullshit and not winning the game and not the team. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to put this out there. I kind of went off on a tangent, but I do that. I've got a lot of stuff to do today. We've got dinner to pick up and probably stop and have our wine tasting. Sunday, I'm going to be gone. We're going to Maryland for the Sea Services Mass at St. Anne Elizabeth Satan Shrine. And hopefully we'll be able to spend a little time there, because I would like to go and visit her grave, because she's buried in that area before we go in for Mass. But, don't be surprised within the next 3 weeks that we will hear something about Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm, okay? Or it gets to the tabloids, it gets to the rags, because they'll put a whisper campaign out there, okay? And I think the more I look at Star Wars magazine, the more I think it's originating from Lucasfilm. They're trying to rectify the damage that they did and trying to bring the fans back together again. The only way you can do that is deny access to everybody. Cut Molly and Alex off completely. Cut Jason Ward off, even though I do think he has been. And, not use us for PR. All we can do is say we like or hate something. And we're not going to give something that's bad. We're not going to sell our souls. Okay? And if you give somebody, like I said, Molly Damon, access, she's going to start thinking she's Joan Crawford or Oprah Winfrey or fucking Kathleen Kennedy herself. And, obviously she took her position at Star Wars Explained and her connections and ran with it. All right. Well, the thing about it is, I think John will get attacked by both sides because we've got people who yoga instructors and dumbasses on the EU fundamentalists who they're EU evangelists. They're cultists about it, and they will attack and will say they don't like something. It'll probably be really good, even if it has elements of the EU. They won't be satisfied, so they'll do their share. Then you gotta look at the people who, on the left, if they don't get the gay bullshit and the diversity that they demand, which is no white men at all, no white women at all, they will yell and scream. But as long as Disney sees profit, they won't give a flying fuck. Okay? What we need to do is to give Ahsoka season 2 a chance. Hey, Corian, how you doing, man? Is to give Skeleton Crew a chance, and then to get ready for Mando and Grogu, and get ready for all the cool cameos and appearances that will happen. Okay, I personally can't wait. Enough of this shit. I mean, like I said, the era of Kennedy is over. We're in the post-Kennedy era, and we've been there since Ahsoka, since the moment, you guys saw my upload today, Mando, or Anakin saying, hello, Snips. I didn't expect to see you so soon. There's your key. All right. We've known they were thinking about using the world between worlds. And I think it might have been Ian or Cross who said that was the opening for Filoni to say, we've got to change the timeline. And I think he's been on board for changing the timeline and getting as far away from the sequels as he possibly can get. Now, I'm going to leave you guys with this. When the time comes, and it will, you can yub-nub till your heart's content. But I've got a presidential election to worry about. We've got all this shit going down with Israel, Iran, that little grifting clown boy in Ukraine, and the Russians threatening mayhem if they're attacked directly. So I'm going to be the person sitting at the bar with my glass of champagne, telling everybody we won a battle. The war is still on. Okay. And I was going to yub-nub into the early morning hours. Hell, if we didn't have this shit going on right now, I'd be very happy to join the party. But I think at the end of this, it's going to be a time of reflection. I mean, go get yourselves a nice dinner, of your choice, your drink of choice, your dessert of choice. But just remember, the war goes on. And we won a major battle in the cultural wars. But as long as people in Hollywood think that wokeness is something that they have to be concerned. Look, the moment they realize it's costing them a lot of money, and it has, and I think they're slowly coming to a realization, is the moment it will disappear. And the people screaming and shouting, the Mary Sues, the Pablo Hidalgos, the rewriting Ripleys will become irrelevant and they will go away. Well, yeah, but, I don't overestimate and I don't underestimate. I don't want anything to go on. I don't, you know, I, you know, we've had missiles blow up on pads too, and it's embarrassing, you know. So it's one of those things where, you got to take everything day by day and don't spend too much of yourself on celebrating one thing when we've got other things. Oh yeah, and that's scary. That's scary. I mean, we're close enough in radius to where if they launched one at DC, if they launch one at Philadelphia, there are installations around here that are valuable. Tactical nukes. I don't, so it's like, and they have the Russian artillery is so above ours anymore. And look, I didn't want to get into this because I want to end this, but they can do things with their artillery that we can't now. And that's what 20 years of being at war with terrorist groups does. It takes you out of where you should be and takes you where you shouldn't be. And we're struggling to get back on a footing where we can actually fight a big war. We can't, look, the United States recruiting for the Navy is so low that we can't, there are 17 ships that have to be in port because we can't find enough sailors to man them. Okay, that's a BFD for the United States military. We used to be the strongest in the world. Now it's like, then you've got people shaking their sabers and it's like, will you shut the fuck up? I mean, and look, the British are the worst. All right, they're, it's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Really? Ukraine is worth World War III to you? Well, how much money do you have being laundered there for this to be something that we all have to get on the horse with? Or unless it's Putin's not woke and that pisses them off, I don't know. But so we will hear eventually. Kennedy's gone. It'll be either we'll hear about it, won't be able to say anything until we are allowed to, and that's how it's going to work. And I'm not fearful about these things as I am angry. Trump tomorrow is going to be in Butler, Pennsylvania. Return to Butler rally. Please don't let anything happen to him. I've got a friend who's going to be there. He's doing get out the vote stuff and voter registration here in Pennsylvania. Elon Musk is going to be there. There you go. So we got, that's going on. But we've got bigger fish to fry. Okay. And removing Kennedy and starting to cut out the cancer of woke Star Wars from Lucasfilm is we won a battle. We will win a battle. But it's like winning the Battle of Midway. Okay, it's like winning, the Battle of Gettysburg. All right, the turning point in the war. All right, it is not the end of the war. All right, it's the beginning of a different part of it. Okay, because look, 1990, we thought communism was over. It's not. It's not. They're very good at waiting, and they've infiltrated our education system, our government, our banking system, our financials, our our cultural institutions, film, and they've been after film for a long time, and taking away their ability to indoctrinate children and to spread their woke mind virus, by removing someone who's been doing that is a victory in the culture wars, but it's not the end. All right, it's the Battle of Midway. It's the Battle of Gettysburg. But it's not a Pyrrhic victory by any means, because I'll leave you with this: everything is run on economics. Soviet Union fell because they had a bad economic model. The Chinese government is having a hard time, and they've changed their economic model. They're more fascist than they are. They're Maoist now, but they're having a hard time. We're having a hard time because our government spends too much money. All right, that's the problem. Okay, and something's got to give. So anyway, I kind of want to put this out there. You guys have a good afternoon. Have a good Friday. If we hear anything else, I'll either do an upload or a live. Talk to you guys later. See you around the galaxy.